thought I'll just share with you some true incidents which could be of use to you. One is way back, it happened during 1967, about 55 years back. Another one is very recently, about 3-4 years back. So the first incident was during 1967. I was working in a group in ISRO which was making what is called payload integration. This payload integration is nothing but the PRL, Physical Research Laboratories, scientists will come with some payload. Now this payload has to be integrated with the rockets and then to be flown successfully. But the payload integration job was not much there. So we were some 6 engineers. In practically, if you look at it, we didn't have much of a job. We become active when a payload integration work comes. Otherwise, we were just sitting quiet. So my boss told me that why not we do something in our spare time. Mind you, we didn't have any rocket. We didn't have any rocket project either. But what is that we can do? So we were just imagining, daydreaming. So this boss was just asking me that why not we do something to recover the payload which we launch. We didn't have even a rocket. Then he is talking about recovering that payload. Normally the payload goes and falls in the sea some 40-50 kilometers away. Many times we never even come to know about it. And then we asked, okay, let us start. So one opportunity, he said that, assuming that we have no rocket, I said it is true, we don't have a rocket. All right, assuming that we have no rocket, then assuming that we are flying it successfully, assuming that the payload we want to recover, now what do we do? So we started thinking of a system. The system consists of the falling payload should reach the sea safely. It should not impact. So we should have a parachute. Now the parachute should be folded and kept inside a canister. So we should have a parachute. And it has to be folded means you should have some kind of a rope tying around. And it should be put into a canister, so the canister has to open when it is required. And if it falls in the sea, then we should know where it has fallen down. So we should make the payload to float. If it has to float, then there must be a floating system. And then once it is floating, then we should know where it is floating, so we should have a color code which will spread in the sea. So these many systems we identified. We have nothing. So we started designing one by one. I was asked to design the ejection mechanism, which is a pyro system. Then I also designed a cable cutter, which will cut the cable. Then one of my colleagues, Mr. Majid, was asked to design the parachute system. Then another person, Satya, was asked to design the canister. Like that it went on. So we did that entire thing. And then we didn't have a rocket anyway. So we thought we will fly it by an aircraft. So we had a flying club. Now the flying club man, Dr. Krishnan, he was very happy to fly. So one of my colleagues, Mr. Sudhakar, he took the assembled canister, he took up and then dropped it over the Arabian Sea. As we expected, it came down. The cover got ejected. Parachute came. Parachute was opened. Before that, it was cut by the cable cutter. A system which is working in flight, the first system which I have designed. And then, as we expected, the whole thing went and was touching the sea. Float worked, everything worked. We were very happy. So, we have achieved a payload recovery system 55 years back when we didn't even have a rocket with us. Now, what is interesting here is how it happened. Today we are talking about recovering the payload, recovering astronauts and things like that. Now, the whole interesting thing here is twofold. One is I told about all the people's name excepting the boss name. And the boss is none other than the ex-president APJ Abdul Kalam. This is not actually recorded, but this incident took place. Now, from this experience, you can understand, if you have the willpower, if you have the imagination, if you are able to dream, you can achieve whatever you want. This is the lesson we learned from this experience. Now, the latest incident is equally interesting in the sense, as you know, the spy case, I fought the case. The case started in 94. I fought the case, and in 96 itself, they declared that it is a false case. In 98, the Supreme Court judgment came by that. This was further endorsed by the Supreme Court also. So, practically within 4 years, the case was over. But I continued the case further. And finally, the judgment came in the year 2018. That is after 20 years. What was the case for 20 years? So the case was getting argued in a 3-member judge led by Deepak Misra, Kanvilkar, and Chandrachud. These are the 3 sitting judges. And the lawyer who was supposed to argue my case did not turn up in the last day. So I was asked to represent the case, that is, person in petition. I was arguing my own case. So the judges were, trying to make it short. The judges were trying to they understood this is a false case. And they said, okay, we will give you 25 lakhs as compensation. So let us call it as quits. I was keeping quiet. The next judges, I think it is too small a sum, so we will make it 50 lakhs, which will be fair enough. And the third judge said, I think once and for all we will settle the matter with 75 lakhs. Then only I just opened my mouth. I said, my lord, I have not come here for any compensation. I have not even prayed for compensation. Please look at my petition. I demand that these people must be punished. That is the demand I have. I don't have any compensation. It does not mean that I am oozing out with money. No, I have loans up to my neck. But as far as I am concerned, this case is filed by me only to see that such incidents never occur and these people must be punished. And finally, the history goes, they formed a committee by which process the culprits are likely to be punished, and that is going on. And of course, they gave me some compensation also. This is the second story. From the second story, what I want to inform, particularly the student community, is if your goal is clear, if you are true to your consciousness, no matter, I fought this case for 20 years. And imagine with all kinds of loans, when 75 lakhs is offered to me, anybody would have been tempted to grab that offer. But I was not. And it is in the Supreme Court, it took place in the year 2018. So I said that these people must be punished. So my aim and goal was to see that it is punished. But please understand that the police can do whatever they want, but they never get punished. And this is a landmark judgment where the Constitution is asked to pay for me, as well as the Supreme Court assumes the power of that of a king to punish these people, and this case is going on. I am trying to impress you that if you are clear, certainly you can achieve what you really want. Now, these two lessons were 20 years back and forth, but in both cases, there is only one common denominator, that the individuals had the willpower to fight and to imagine and to work, and they finally showed that they will succeed. Now, I feel that these examples will certainly inspire you to understand what is the real meaning of your willpower and the requirement for your willpower. Now, coming back to the school, I feel jealous of it. I want to become a student if it is possible, but unfortunately, I am too old for that. But it is really amazing what kind of facilities, what kind of technology, what kind of... I really don't know. I have no words to explain. And I feel all the students sitting here are really lucky to be here as part of this institution. But one thing is very interesting. It is not only the facilities. I found the passion with which the people who matters, I'm not talking about this husband and wife and their daughter and their husband, but all the teachers, all the people whom I met, the way in which they talk about it, there seems to be only one interest they have in common, that all their students must be somebody big in course of time when they get out of the school. So they are trying to give you education, not only the mental education, but the physical education, games, sports, music, painting, all kinds of things. So in fact, if your interest is something different, you have an opportunity to use the same to become somebody big in that area. So, but when we were going to the school, maximum is a notebook and a pen or a pencil. And that's all the only technology we had. We were asked to write. But I was just thinking, even with that technology, if I could achieve something like a Vikas engine, with this kind of technology, what you can achieve? Actually, you can become somebody really big. The only thing what you should have is the willpower, the mind, the passion, the dedication. So I personally believe that you all will be certainly become, I don't know, maybe the best sports, the best music, the best painting, and the best teachers, and the best engineers, and the best doctors, and the best bureaucrats. I mean the real best bureaucrats. So in that way, I am sure that you will add to this country's welfare, this country's growth. And with this talk, I just want to wish you all the best in your life and take care of yourself. Thank you so much.
So, sir, I think if I may take the opportunity to be the first one to ask a question, I've been very excited to meet you, sir. The position you found yourself when you were falsely accused, right? It was not 1 day, 2 days, it was years on end. We constantly find ourselves always in positions where, we feel like, oh, why did this happen to me? It's wrong. What really was the mindset, or what really helped you really get through those days? Would love to hear about your experience and what.
Actually, the story is a very simple story. I didn't have much of a choice. I was falsely implicated. That is known to me. At that time, I was not thinking about the reasons why this came. But you were forced to fight against the government of India and against the state government. And the society was against you and the media was against you. You have no choice. Either you accept the false charge and then go to jail, or you fight back. I decided suddenly to fight back. And then, you see, it is not only your mind is sufficient, you should have the intelligence. Then, once I decided to fight back, I started thinking about who is who, what is what, why this problem, and how it came. So that analysis led me to certain understanding. From that, we started working on it. And then, in the first and foremost thing was when the CBI came in the picture, I made an all-out attempt of convincing them that this is a false case. I didn't say who, but I said that this is a false case. Meaning that they should first of all understand that this is a false case. I was talking perhaps for about 7 hours continuously. And I don't know, to my luck or my skill, they understood that this is a false case. So from that starting point onwards, the whole thing turned its side. And then slowly I became successful.